Hello and welcome back to the Business Growth Club. This is your weekly edition from us, and in this week's video we're going to be looking at how businesses that sell to businesses can use a profile target market list. Now this is the final video in the series where we've looked at how you can take the idea of a mass market and turn it into a target market, and then how you use profiling tools to drill down to have a very specific list and a very specific idea of who your target market is. Now we've built this list in the last couple of videos. We started by looking at how you do an 80-20 of your customer base, looking at the 20% of the customers that give you 80% of your revenue, and we've looked at how you profile this group and how you can extrapolate and how you can review other areas, and we've come up with a list that we've used the search tools to identify a list of people that we know is not just a target market but a highly profiled, highly specific target market on a range of different criteria, be it social groups, be it affluence, be it a certain area, be it geography, whatever it happens to be. We've profiled it and we've built a list of the businesses that we would most want to do business with. And then hopefully we've purchased this list. So now we have a database of businesses. We have their names, their contact names, their postal addresses, and their contact details, a telephone, an email, something like that. So what do we do next? What do we do with this information? Well, essentially you've got to contact people. The whole point of having a profile target market is to perform direct response marketing, direct contact marketing. Remember, there's two types of marketing. There's direct response marketing, where you go to people and you approach them directly and ask them to respond immediately, respond to an offer you're making. So you're going out there, you're putting the fishing rod out there, and you're hoping that people will bite. There's the other side, which is more promotional brand building, promotions, advertising, marketing, where you put a message out there and you hope people will respond. So advertising in the local newspaper would be an example. Whereas direct response is these methods are put on the screen. You can send them a letter or something like a letter in the post. You can send them an email or a text message. You can telephone them. And on a more advanced level, if you know that your target market of businesses happen to fall into a certain category, perhaps when you've run your profiling you find that it's only HR managers or only professional service firms, you can actually decide to promote and reach people at niche media events. So this could be, for instance, the HR Managers Conference, or if it's solicitors, the solicitors event, a legal conference, something like that. So you've got direct response in post, email, text and telephone. And then if your businesses don't happen to go across sectors, but they happen to be specific within one or more sectors or one or more job descriptions, you might be able to find people in certain areas and contact them that way. So let's have a look at how you would actually execute these ideas. So the first option is the postal option. Now you've got a list of names and addresses of businesses that you really want to do work with. The most obvious way of contacting them is via post. It's the most expensive option, but it's often the most effective. Your most obvious option is a simple sales letter. Sales letters work very well because you can fit a lot of information in them, and if you design them properly you can have a lot of copy, and remember, the more that you tell, the more that you sell. So that can be an effective contact method, and we've done plenty of videos on how you can make sales letters successful. Postcards is another one. Postcards tend to be cheaper in terms of postage and printing to a sales letter. The disadvantage is, unlike a sales letter, you're limited to information. However, the advantage is the fact that you get two sides of a postcard which are visible without anybody having to open it. So you get two headlines, two images, two calls to action, two offers. So you get two bites of the cherry, really. You can flyer or leaflet. Tends not to work as well for businesses for all manner of reasons. Businesses tend to be more disparate, unlike residential areas where you have a row of houses on a street, so it tends to cost more. You've got problems with leafleting that not all businesses have got letterboxes. I know that sounds a bit silly, but not all businesses do have a letterbox, and there's lots of reasons why flyering and leafleting is an option, but probably not as effective as a sales letter or postcard. Or you could try one of my favourite tactics, it's been a favourite of mine for many years, which is a trusty old fax. You'd be surprised the number of people who still have faxes. Now when you get all the information from the data company when you buy the list, you can also request a fax number. It will cost you hardly anything. They might even give it you for free because faxes are going a bit out of fashion. However, as I've said, you'd be amazed the number of people who still have a fax machine. We still have fax machines in all of our offices, and you'd be surprised the number of our clients who send us faxes. We tend not to send many faxes unless people request it, but we receive a lot. Lots of target markets will still have them. If your target market is an architect or a solicitor or somebody like that, they're likely to have a fax machine. Something that works really well with faxes is you can do a very personalised letter. So you can write them a memo, and then you can photocopy it when you put it into the fax machine. You can't do that with a sales letter. When it's heavily personalised like that, we know it works very well, but if you've got 100 people, you're unlikely to write 100 handwritten letters. And if you photocopy a handwritten letter, it looks photocopied, so you lose the effect. That's not a problem with a fax. You can tell it's handwritten, but you didn't know it's handwritten for 100 people. So it's a very effective medium. Not many people send faxes, so people notice them. And the cost of fax marketing is really small, absolutely tiny. You can do 10,000 broadcasts for a couple of £100. So if yours is a sort of more traditional target market, don't rule out a fax option. Obviously, if you're targeting young entrepreneurs or something, then fax is unlikely to work. But for certain audiences, don't rule out fax. Strictly, I know fax isn't postal, it's something else, but it seems to fit into this category. But they're the options. Option number 1, you could send them something. Option number 2 is to contact them by email or text. You'll remember that I said that you can buy the marketing data with an email address. There is a problem that sometimes you don't have as many as you'd like, particularly the further up the country you go, you tend to have less per 100. I don't know why that is, but that's just a factor. Another something with email marketing is you have to repeat it over time. Direct mail you have to repeat over time. You'll find with direct mail that the 4th direct mailer to the 8th direct mailer is what's known as the sweet spot. It's when you'll get most results. Email, sometimes it takes longer than that, and you have to email a larger number to get responses. But, of course, it's very cheap. Text messages don't work as well for businesses because it's still an emerging market. It's quite a buoyant market when it comes to consumers, but businesses were still finessing the data, and the data's less available. But if you've got a very big target market, maybe you're going nationally on a target market, you'll be able to pick up some text messages or some mobile phone numbers for text. I would use it for very immediate special offers, very quick, firing them off and just something to say and see if you get any pickups. You could also use seasonal offers, so it might be that you're texting and emailing, or posting for that matter, about offers that are coming up in the year. So now it's a Christmas, you might have a Christmas offer, or a New Year's offer, or a Valentine's offer, or an Easter offer. And email and text messages are a great way of getting seasonal messages to people because it's immediate. I know last year we had an idea for a Halloween offer, and we came up with the idea much too late to do anything in the post, but we managed to email it and text it out to people, and we got good results. I can't remember exactly what our pickups were, but it was certainly a high return on investment, and you can do that with email and text. They're quite flexible. Something to be careful of with emails and text messages is be careful which list broker you're using. If you use the ones I've advised, you should be fine. But if you're using the ones that you've found yourself, just be careful that they have verified the opt-in, because you can send posts to anybody that you want, but you only can email and text people who've given their prior permission and what's known as an opt-in list. When you speak to the list broker, ask them for verification of the opt-in status. And if they don't know what that means or they can't confirm it, then avoid it. But as long as you don't, like I say, they're great ways of contacting people. They're very cheap. They're also great for these kind of seasonal immediate offers, if you will. Don't forget, you can combine the two. So you can send somebody a postal communication and then an email and or a text. Finally, there's the telephone option. And this can be used in conjunction or as a standalone method. I tend to prefer it as a conjunction method, so maybe you will use telephone in conjunction with something else. So it might be you send a postal item and then you follow it up on the telephone, or it might be you go the other way around where you telephone people and then you send them some information and then you follow it up again on the telephone, or you telephone them and then email them or text them some information and then follow it up. It can be used in many ways, telephone. It's very effective. You can use it for appointment generation, so just simple canvassing. Would you be interested? We have an offer for you. Remember, because you've got a very profiled list, you now have a very specific offer that you can make people. So it's great for those special offers as well, an offer just for our target market. Can be done for market research. Maybe you've come up with this list and you've gone through the profiling tool and you've identified the ideal customer, and it's come out with all these different businesses, and you're not quite sure what's the glue that binds them all together. You're not quite sure what their fears or concerns are. So you could do some market research. You could do telephone research, or you could invite them via the telephone to do some focus groups or something like that, or maybe attend an online survey, give them incentive. You'd be surprised how many people are prepared to do quite a lot of market research just for a Mars bar or a £5 voucher at Marks and Spencer's for a very small bribe. You'd be surprised how much people are prepared to give. So that is an option. Don't rule out market research. It can be very useful, especially if you've got this list and you've built it, as I say, and you're not quite sure what's going on. Remember what I call the midnight concerns question. You need to be asking yourself, for this target market, what keeps them awake at night? What keeps them up awake at night worrying? What are their concerns? What are their fears? And if you can know that, then it's an absolute walk in the park thereon, because you know what their fundamental concern is, and that becomes your marketing message. So you've got a highly specified message for a highly specified group for something that's really troubling them, and then everything else is easy from there. And as I said, you can use it as a follow-up to a direct mailer. If you do direct mail, I generally advise combining it with one of the other methods. So all of these three options here can be used in conjunction. Finally, we look at the ones where I said if you've looked at your target market and it's general businesses, there's not much you can do with niche media. However, if you've profiled it and you've come to the conclusion that it's solicitors, I'm just going to use that for a sake of argument, then you can actually directly contact people via the niche media. Now, to some extent, this is also brand building, so it crosses the two forms of marketing, but you can still do direct contact by trade magazine articles, so you can build your awareness in that way and make a direct offer to people. So don't just write articles, but have articles with a point. Visit a website, find out more, enter a competition, engage in research, whatever. Press advertisements where you give people an offer and you give them an inducement to respond. When you do direct mail or emails or text or telephone, you're sending somebody an offer and asking them to respond. That's exactly what you should do when you write press trade adverts. You shouldn't just put a picture there listing your services and doing brand building. It has to be that direct response. Forums and blogs as well. It's very easy to connect with people on forums and blogs. If you know it's the ones that the solicitors are going to, then you can find the forums and blogs that they're interested in. Or books and articles, you can start to contribute. So if it was solicitors, to keep with that example, you could say, okay, let's advertise in the Lawyer magazine. So that's the top one for trade magazines. Articles, so you can advertise in there and submit articles. Or forums and blogs, you can find the blogs and forums that the solicitors are going to. Or articles and books that are offline, that are targeted towards those people, you can start to contribute to them. So really you become part of the target market and part of the fabric of that kind of trade, if you will. And finally, you look at events. If you have got this specified target market and you know it's in a sector or two, you can say, okay, sticking with the solicitor example, do they go to networking events? If they do, I will go there and meet them. Do they go to seminars or conferences? If so, I will turn up there. Do they attend webinars, or where are they? Where's their space? Can I actually put on a webinar for them, or a seminar or a conference? Can I organise a networking event to which I can invite them? So their final two options there are just ways that if you've got a very specified sector, this only works for businesses, of course, then you can bring them together. So there then is all of the options, 5 different options, and as you can tell, less is more always. That's been the theme of this series. Instead of having a large target market, drill down and have a smaller target market. You don't want to be doing business with everybody. You want to get in front of the money. You want to be in front of the people who are most likely to give you the income that you want, pay your rate, want to buy your services, be a pleasure to work with. They're the only people you should ever do marketing with. Whenever people complain to me about having bad clients, troublesome clients, I always look at it and wonder, well, why did you approach them in the first place? People will complain. I was speaking to a company recently who were complaining about a certain industry that they don't like working with. I said, well, why do you keep promoting to them? You know, it makes absolutely no sense. Less is more. Stop doing business with those people. Do business with the people you want to. This is the most effective, yet the most overlooked rule of business and marketing. Make sure from this day forward, you never do brand building, mass market activities. You only do very specific, niche offers to a very profiled list. Not only will it be more cost effective, not only will it be more effective in terms of responses, but you'll actually create a business that you enjoy being a part of more. So there's so many reasons to follow this. So from this day forward, get rid of mass market and only do it this way. So that brings us to the end of this recording, but also this series we've been doing on a profiled list. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully it's given you loads of ideas for your business, practical ideas that you can do straight away and get on with it. As always, any questions, you know where I am. I'm more than happy to help. This is the final video of 2012 for the Business Growth Club, because next week we take a week off, because next week is Christmas, as I'm sure you're aware. So we do a rerun of my favourite video of the year. So of the 51 videos we've done, I'll pick the one that I enjoy most and I'll send that to you. So that's what you have for next week. So I hope you've enjoyed the Business Growth Club in 2012. I've certainly enjoyed producing these videos. I always enjoy having the meetings where as a team we'll decide what videos we're going to put on and putting the presentations together and doing these recordings. I always enjoy them. We've had some great feedback this year and we've had so many new members join us, which is fantastic, and I've really enjoyed doing it. Hopefully you've got value out of it. I can't believe 2012 has come to an end already, but it has. But thank you all the members for making the Business Growth Club as much fun as it is. And as I say, I hope you get at least as much out of it as I do from doing it. So I hope you have a fantastic Christmas break. Thank you very much for being part of the Business Growth Club and part of the Business Growth Academy. So you'll hear from me again in the new year. So have a fantastic holiday, fantastic Christmas. I wish you every bit of luck for 2013 and making that your best ever year in business. So take care now. Goodbye.